Welcome to Mechs on Deck, episode 22. I am Osiris, and this is Runway Chewy.
I don't know which way I am either.
It would be to your
This way?
left.
This way.
Yeah, there you go.
This way.
But we are Mechs on Deck. If it's your first time here, thank you for coming. Today we're going to be talking about just our thoughts on Keyset design. Not like actual like novelties and stuff like that, but more just in general.
More colors. I would say. Colors. Yeah, so before we get started, quick shout out, switchmod.net. You can go to switchmod.net/mechsondeck for 4% off any lube needs. You can get, I actually have them. I rearranged my desk to have all my stuff on, but you can get tubs like these if you order enough. Huge benefit. So definitely check that out. He's also got GMK Sandstorm and group buy right now. The code does not work for group buys, but if you're getting that, might want to grab some springs and lube as well, just in case.
Absolutely. And then we have Dixie Mech. You can go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com and use our link. They're running GMK 9009 for the next couple days. It'll be on for about another week. And then he shoots right into Dracula, I believe, for October.
Yep. I think it's October 4th. I think there's like a small
window of no Keysets running.
I think Dixie wants to take a deep breath for 3 days.
But yeah, you can head on over there, pick up some shirts, some desk mats. It's got tons of stuff. So take a look at mechsondeck.dixiemech.com, and it helps us out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last but not least, Zap cables. I won't do what I always do, which is unplug my mic, but there's the Zap cable right there. He makes some of the best, if not the best, cables in our community. He's been an awesome partner with us. We just did the bumper giveaway, and he's got the bumper coming out soon. You can check our video on review, Osiris's amazing video review on that. As well as so if you want to buy these cables, you can do custom cables that he builds via runs, or you can buy a DIY kit and you can build one yourself. We have a video showing you how to do that where he walked us through. So if you definitely want to up that aesthetic game, since we're going to be talking about some aesthetics today, that's definitely one way to do it. So before we get into it, my apologies if my voice is low or I cough. I am slightly sick, just trying to get over it. I know Cyrus was not feeling great at the end of last week as well. So we're just, we're just coughing our way through this whole episode.
We're just trekking. On. It's like we're getting into flu season. Last year at work, I think I got the flu twice. My general manager for where I work was sick for like 3 months, just like kind of sick the whole time. So it happens. We both work around. Chewy works around kids, which are just disgusting.
I got sneezed on 5 times today in like 30 minutes.
And I work with around a whole bunch of random people every day. Yep. So you never know what could happen.
Exactly.
But getting back into the topic at hand, what kind of makes a good Keyset?
So preliminary, these are our opinions. Take what you will with them. We just thought it would be a little bit interesting to kind of dive into this topic. As Cyrus and I have different opinions as well about certain Keysets, but these are just things that I have noticed, that Osiris has noticed. We've definitely seen a big shift in the community of keycap sets, and even just if you look back a year ago, only about one set was allowed to be successful a month. You kind of had to pick your spot of when you were going to run your set, because if you ran your set at the same time as someone else, it was going to fail. And we haven't seen that many sets fail, but it was more likely to happen last year, with a couple different sets just not able to make it out of group buy because they were running at the same time, to where 2019 happened and April of 2019 happened, and good lord, 7 sets went through, and then August happened. It was like 8 sets went through. So, we still see sets unfortunately fail, which you never want to see, but we are seeing more and more sets get through. So the main question really though is what is popular right now, and Cyrus will go into more of the sets in detail. I took these off of the top 8 from um, the Mech Madness thing, the Mech Madness tournament that was held earlier this year. So I took this list, but these are definitely sets you've heard of, that a lot of people like.
Yeah, and so the top one, obviously, it did win Keyset of the Year for 2018, going into 2019, is GMK Olivia. That was a set that, relatively when it came out, it was relatively not very popular, I would say. Um, Obviously, everyone who was in the community at the time knew of Olivia, or I would say most people did. Um, the set didn't have um, quite the same feeling that it does about it now. People weren't
Yeah,
as excited as they are now about it. It really only sold, I think, less than 400 base kits, which at the time was good, but not fantastic. We were still getting sets that were in 600-700s. Um, Another one that ran at the end of last year, Modern Dolch, probably one of the best key sets that has been delivered this year so far. I think that's not news to
I
anyone.
yeah, it's a fantastic set.
Yeah, it's super. It's just clean, works with everything. Red Samurai was a really popular set, especially going into this year, as Drop kind of reran Red Samurai in a way. They ran it for certain boards that they make, so it fit their 1800 layout board. It fit their TKL and their 65%, and then they ran an ortholinear set, I believe. So it was limited in a V2 this year, and then a Space Cadet, of course, is a set that did really well, and it was done in a time, especially back then, where there weren't as many bright blue sets out at the time. We've seen a lot of blue sets so far this year, but that was at a time where bright blue was kind of few and far between, and it had nostalgia for a lot of people. And that's the
Yeah,
thing, is some of these sets have a lot of nostalgia for certain
yeah.
people.
So those were the 4 that won. Those are definitely 4 that hard to get your hands on. Um, these next 4, other than maybe one of them, I guess 2, still very difficult, very pricey. Taro, which has just been announced that it is getting around 2. Um, great set, great alpha, great novelties, great colorway. Purple still a huge fan favorite. Um, we'll get into that color specifically here in a little bit. Honeywell, very clean, basic set. You actually can still get Honeywell. I forgot the website, but you have to buy a keyboard and then they give you GMK Honeywell with it. So you buy them both. So maybe master marketing. Maybe they just bought 100 sets of GMK Honeywell. But great set. Serica, that was run shortly after Olivia and did fine. I believe it's on Mass Drop. Um, so another fantastic set people love. Lots of bright colors. That was one of the big sub legends push as well. And then Monochrome, which didn't blow down any doors, but we also have sets like Minimal that came out, and then they had the Icon extension kit. So that came out through Candy Keys. So you can basically make GMK monochrome now from 2 sets. I mean, literally nothing fancy. It's a white alphas and black mods. So these sets, some of these sets you kind of see are starting to fall into a particular equation that we've kind of come up with. So
Yeah, I mean it's you have really it's not, you know, we have it here, white alphas with black or gray mods plus accent color. And I think you don't even have to limit it to white alphas. I think that's a um like even with like modern Dolch, it still
yeah,
fits the same mold, but it's just a uh
lighter than
yeah.
the modifiers, and not a bright crazy color. You know,
Mhm.
something along in between, either white to black or somewhere in between,
Yeah.
as long as it's lighter than the mods. So I mean, look at it. And this is not to say that these designs were not done poorly. Not to hate on any of the keycap designer. We've interviewed a few of the people that have designed these, and
It
you know,
doesn't make the design less
it doesn't make
quality.
it bad.
Yeah, it's there's something about there's something to be said about a classic feel, which is what
Mhm.
this is. This is a classic feel to a keycap set.
Yeah, so there's a reason that Olivia is loved so much, because um, it goes great with a lot of boards. It's simplistic. It sticks to a theme. At the end of the day, if you took out the accents, you would kind of see just a very dark gray, like a charcoal gray and white set with a little bit of pink sprinkled in. Most people do put in the accented colors. Most people have the pink spacebar because they did not buy the white spacebar kit. Um, so, but that kind of falls into that theme, and that's why people like it, because it sticks to that kind of just okay, black and white and hint of color. Something like Honeywell. Honeywell literally is a gray and white set with a couple red caps. Serica, to an extent, Serica and Space Cadet is where you kind of see it start to branch out some. Um, but it's still only one color. We're not seeing multicolor. It's, you know, black, white, third color, or gray, white, third color. And that's what Serica and Space Cadet, gray, white, blue, gray, white, or black, white, yellow. So we're seeing these, not that this is a bad thing, but we're seeing these kind of repetitive themes happening. And that's what makes them a safe set. And that's why these sets do well. That's why they're sought after, is because it's simple. You go, I like the color yellow. What keycap set do I want? Serica.
Yeah, it's a set that will fit, and I think that's why these caps are popular, and a lot of people love them, is because a set like Olivia, while initially I think when it did first come out, a lot of people were like, rose gold, what am I going to put that on? Like, what color board am I going to put it on? Well, the set came out great and is very usable on boards that are not colors that you would typically think would go well with the rose gold. Especially if you have the spacebar kit. If you have the spacebar kit, you can really put it on in whatever color you want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even a board, even a set like Serica, if you've got a board in really any color other than like red, I mean, even then, red and yellow still is like a good colorway. You know, it'll work on just about anything.
Pretty much. I
You know.
mean, and these are also sets that are good for polycarbonate are hard
Mm-hmm.
to come by. You look at a set like Serica. Serica was made for polycarb sets, or cat cases. So I think, and I talked about this with, I actually asked Olivia this. So I think a lot of people, we started seeing rose gold boards pop up. And I think a lot of people were really excited to put Olivia on a rose gold board. But rose gold, that has a lot of meaning. There's a lot of different rose golds, and depending on the anodization, it's going to be different. And on top of that, while yes, it is a rose gold color, in reality, rose gold means that it needs to be metallic because it's gold, and plastic can't be metallic. So it's kind of a very muted pink in reality. So putting that on these sets, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I can't wait to put this on my rose gold Tokyo 60 or my rose gold Rama board or my rose gold this or whatever. When in reality, it looks great and almost probably better on a gray or black board. So it lets that gold shine through. So
Yeah. Well, and with specifically rose gold, like you said, it has so many different meanings, and you could have a more orange rose gold. You could have a lighter rose gold where it's almost yellowy. And then you could have somewhere like Olivia where it's more in between. Um, so it's one of those things that it's really hard to match. Like don't go in thinking you're going to be able to buy an exact rose gold unless the designer is like that is their goal to make a rose gold board that matches Olivia perfectly, then I wouldn't expect it to match 1-to-1. It'll look close, it'll look good, but it may not match 1-to-1.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the safe set, the safe design, I think is cool. I think it works really, really well. I think one thing that's really cool is we've seen people kind of take it to the next level recently. So, you have obviously Space Cadet had the colored, the actual alphas were colored. So the keys were colored, but not the legends were, a more standard color. You have sets now like Terra, where it's a very like mint color. It's like full color caps, and they're still on that same kind of safe design, but innovating it to a point where it's a little bit different, and kind of moving that to the next level and making it more color specific.
Yeah. Yeah, you said like sets like Mizu
Mm-hmm.
have come out. That's got that nice light blue. Terra, both by Rensuya. Um, what was the one I just thought of? Ataro. Taro has that nice purple, which I think I think that set's going to do amazing.
I think that's a set, like we were in a time where not a lot of people were doing sets like that were super, like, I don't want to say aggressive in their colors, but
Taro was ahead of its time.
It was definitely a color that I feel like a lot of people were like, hey, this might not work. Like we were just off of Necro not being like, is around the same time Necros and Plum stuff was happening where people were not excited about the way it looked versus renders. Color sampling wasn't, it was still, people did it obviously, but it was not to the level. I feel like we've upped our game a little bit. The expectations have been upped since then of keycap sets,
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's why I like Taro kind of was ahead of its game with colorway. Another one, GMK Forge. It's got those bright orange alphas. Burgundy was one that a lot of people like. That's why it got a round 2. So round 2 Burgundy ran last year. And a lot of round 2s happened before 2018. And then Forge, shout out to Drifting Bunnies, by the way. And then what was the last one? Hero, GMK Hero, which is the Legend of Zelda with the green. So we're starting to see people take risks, and that's what we want to see. Because whilst these sets are great, but you look at Muted and 9009 and Carbon and Olivia and Monochrome and Cafe, you look at something, what's the Ursa, which is very similar to, it's not the same, and I don't want to say it's the same, but Ursa and Coniferous are very, very similar, down to even the fact that the theme is very, very similar. But that's another one that's kind of like Carbon. Black, gray. I know it's more of a brown, but black and kind of a dark, very close to black, and white with the accent color. So seeing kits take these risks have created very interesting keycaps sets. So like Dracula is definitely out there. when it comes to taking a risk.
Waves.
Metropolis, Waves. Um, what's the other one that I was gonna say? Firefly, Nord, um,
Froyo.
Froyo. Froyo's another perfect example of people. Froyo to me is the perfect example of someone saying, "I don't care if the legends might not be visible. I want to make something looking super aesthetically pleasing." And I'm like, respect.
Yeah, and you have the set that Jay is doing from Top Clack. The I can't remember the name of it.
Dark Rainbow.
It's Rainbow. Yeah, you've got people experimenting with different things with the legends of sets with I mean, freaking look at I know he said we weren't going to talk as much about like novelties, but look at the enter that Olivia did for Olive with the Rama enter. I've never seen a metal enter like that. Like I've never seen Rama
9-pound enter.
Yeah. So it's really cool to see like the innovation and not just sticking to the mold, changing it up and doing it so. And I think what that allows us to do is the sets that do stick to the mold, like your 9009, your cafes, we get to appreciate those just as much as these sets that do break away. It's one of those things that you get a good change of pace. Not everything is linear. It doesn't all look the same with changing out a few colors.
Yeah.
It's gone past just the like, let me throw this color here, and that color here. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
People are being a little bit more creative with the way that they do things, which is really nice to see, especially in a time where we have new interest checks going up every single day.
Yeah, and I think that kind of correlates with people are forced to be more creative. Like there's a set coming out by why am I going blank on his name? Neflog. Kaiju. I don't know if it's still called Kaiju.
I think it is.
There's some different names. I think it's Kaiju. It's like bright orange and teal, which you wouldn't think those two would right off the bat be like, yeah, they work perfect, but it looks good. And that's just a set that's definitely kind of out of left field. Going for something different, and that's what we want to see. You see sets that like Laser is a good one. That's kind of like Laser took a big risk, and some people don't like Laser, some people do, but the people that do got rewarded for it. The people that don't, to each their own. They probably sold it for a profit. So, but I like that we're in this time period where we can take these better risks, because it can get boring if you get these. I don't want to be rude, but if you have the same formula that just gets repeated, but pick a different color in the rainbow, then you wind up with 12 of the exact same set, pick a different color and put a slap of theme on. And it's just not, there are so many creative people in this hobby that I'm glad that we're not getting stuck in that mold. And we're seeing people take these high risks. And I think, like, I'm going to give a shout out to Dixie, because 8008 is someone, it's like this kind of perfectly in the out of the mold. Like it's perfectly like, I'm taking a risk, but not that big of a risk. I'm sticking to the formula, but I'm definitely like, pushing the door open as much as I can.
And I think that's what's important too. It's like, right now we have a lot of the mono colorways that have been happening, right? Like Zambumon has run 2 sets that are pretty much mono color.
Strikers.
Sandstorm.
Nines.
Well, Nines, but that was Emir. And then Oblotsky's gotten Crimson Cadet right now, which is they're all like monocolored. It's like, this is what it is. Let's do it.
Yep.
And I think
there's a lot.
That is awesome. Like
Olivia, there's another Olivia, Terminal Olivia.
Oh yeah. Zombumon's doing that one. Yeah. Olivia plus or whatever. Dark Olivia, as some people have been calling it. But I think it's really nice that that is also coming up. Like it's not just sets like Minimal where it's just black on white.
Mm.
Um, it really all these things together make everything else refreshing. You know, once we get tired of the mono sets, then you can move into something like 8008, 9009. Once you get tired of that, then you can move into something like Firefly, where it's like kind of monocolor, but the legends are different on different caps. So it's like all these things feed into each other, and they're kind of like interweaving to make it to where it keeps things fresh, keeps things new, it keeps you interested. And we really need that because there's like 12 sets a month right now.
Yes. Yes. And, that's why I will continue to say this. And we've already seen it with Taro. 2020 is the year of reruns. Like Olivia, most likely, it might run in December, but I think the plan is probably in 2020. Just don't hold me to that. But I don't know any insider information. But I think that 2020 we're going to see a lot of reruns, which is fine, and that's good because that gets prices down on Mech Market and the people that joined this year who are like, wait, I have to spend $400 for that keycap set. And prices seemingly are going down on GMK. I remember they were going up, and they're starting to creep back down. We're starting to see kits exploded into different into multiple sets, multiple kits. So but what I kind of came up with, and what Osiris I assume agreed with, I wrote this part was, what is the secret? What are the pieces into, what do we dump into the GMK pool of plastics to make the perfect keycap set that breaks? I mean, think about this: the top two sets of last year was Moto and Olivia, which combined sold less than 1,000 kits.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think about.
Combined.
That's crazy to think about.
What was it? Oblivion, right? 1,500 kits, over 1,000 base kits, right?
Over 3,000.
Or over 3,000 kits, over 1,500 base kits, or something like that.
No. Over
Or was it over 3,000
base kits. Granted, there was like 5 different base kits, but there were 3,000 of them sold.
Still, like, so you're talking about two of the most popular sets from 2018 combined did not hit 1,000 sets, or if it did, it barely hit it.
Yeah, it's, and you look at a set like I just looked at it just a few minutes ago, GMK Taro, which is another set that is now super sought after, right? We're just doing a round 2. Group I started January of 2018, so well over a year ago. It sold 321 base kits.
Jeez. So looking at the Moto page, it probably sold maybe just over 1,000, but still, that's 2 of the top sets.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So what's the secret? You dump in some white alphas. You don't have to have a dark, it doesn't have to be on the scale of white to black. You look at sets like Camping, Serica. My dog came in here snarling about something. He's huffing and puffing. Sorry. Serica, what's it called? Space Cadet. You look at those sets and you see that they kind of have a theme and a color and then an accent color. So like Camping can just be a white and green set. It's just great that it has red in it. Serica can be a black, white, and yellow set. And what was the other one? Space Cadet is blue and gray and white. So we've seen these sets. So pick your color there, throw in an accent color, and make sure they're not too vibrant.
Yeah. I mean, if you
and blue and purple as bonus points.
Yeah, blue and purple. Everyone loves blue and purple. But yeah, you don't have to do too much. I would say I want to add to this from talking with designers of some of these sets, do what you want.
Yep.
Don't like I would say, and this is gonna be a hot take
There it is.
as of for me personally. All right. So I feel like we're at the point now
Hot takes.
where interest checks are no longer a I'm gonna put this out there and I need like I want people to tell me what to change. Right? That's stuff that you should have figured out before you do your interest check. Your
Yep.
interest check is solely to gauge interest.
Mm-hmm.
When people get in there and they're like, and someone comments on Geek Hack and is like, oh, you should change the shade by like a little bit. Don't. If you don't want to, don't. Like, I feel like that is not what the interest check is for at this point. I feel like maybe a year ago or, 2 years ago, we were at the point where maybe it was more of like a collaborative effort on some things. But right now, if you want your set to succeed as a designer, and sorry, this is kind of getting into the next point of designers being riskier, but also taking on more risk. If you want your set to get picked up and you want it to get noticed by the community, you need to have your interest check completely 100% solid to the point where the only comments are I'm in and not you should have like a 2.25 shift. Why don't you have this? You don't want those comments. You want it just to be this is here. And if there people are like, "Oh, it looks like Olivia, it looks like Moto, it looks like all this." Don't worry about it. That stuff will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. Do you trust in your design, trust in your thoughts?
Absolutely. I think one thing to touch on interest checks are more of showing off a completed project as opposed to community driven is we're starting to see discords where people are gauging interest. I know for GMK Forge, Drifting Bunnies, again, shout out. He hit our Discord up. He hit up these Discords that we don't have 2,000 people in them, but we definitely have enough people that if he posts a picture and go, hey, what do you think about this? That's 20 people that can go in and go, hey, let me give you those options. So you can kind of build from a smaller group and then go to interest check where you can start to, you basically get a chance to weed out any issues that don't have to be as public on Geekhack. And honestly, with Discord and how big it's getting and how big each community is getting, Geekhack's slowly becoming almost non-existent. Like Discord is becoming, these communities are becoming so large that you can run a private group buy of boards. Like right now, we're starting to see boards that might not ever even make it to Geekhack because they don't need to. There's enough people in Discord.
We're seeing keysets like Terra, obviously because Mizu is ran on Dixie Mech. It was kind of like thought that they would also run on Dixie Mech, but they come to interest check with a planned vendor already.
Yeah, because they've already figured it all out.
And I mean, if you're just some random guy, you're not like super connected to all these different people. You might still need to reach out to people like Dixie Mech and the Key Company or one of the other vendors, Novel Keys, whatnot. But interest check is still good for that, to put that out there to show people, hey, this is here. If you like it, fill out this Google form. But I don't think we're at the point now where people necessarily... It's not doing as much as it was before. Mm-hmm. It's not where it was to where people would literally use the interest check to actually gauge 100% interest of and promote their buy. Like at the end of the day, an interest check is more about marketing than it is about gauging interest. Especially if you're really serious about following through with it.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. But you said it perfectly. We like to see that designers are taking risks. That's what's important is, if you're not moving, the community has to be kind of like a shark. If you're not moving forward, you're dying. And if we're not getting riskier with sets, yes, there's going to be a point where we're like, all right, Olivia round 7 just finished up and we need to make something different and stuff like that. But, if we don't move forward in these designs and these design changes, then it's going to dry up. And people who have been in the community for a long time, I see no point in buying anything else. So, I want to be excited about what's coming out.
Yeah. And I think a great example of someone taking risks in their group buy is Mentorly with SA Bliss. I know we've talked a lot about GMK. This community has actually done a lot to get other sets and other profiles more prevalent in the community. Cat Milkshake is running right now. We've had different SA sets run. SA Bliss was one of the most popular SA sets. It's the number one SA uniform sets ever, but it's also one of the most popular SA sets that has ever been sold. It's a set that was similar in colorway to Olivia. I don't think anyone's doubting that. It's similar in colorway. It is SA and it's uniform row 3. These are all things that would bring it down, but those were all risks that were taken and it paid off really, really well. It did really well as a base kit. It sold over 500 kits. I can't remember what the finishing number was, but it was pretty high, especially for an SA set.
Yeah.
That's the kind of risks that we want to see. Now, don't go like
almost 1,000, over 750.
And that's insane for a set that realistically SA is more expensive than GMK, takes longer, and is less popular. And it sold 3 times what almost 3 times what GMK Olivia sold last year, around the same time. Don't be afraid to take risks and do what you want. That's my biggest thing. Do what you want. Chewy just designed a board and it's what he wanted.
It's exactly what, honestly, I only made one sacrifice. And honestly, the only reason I made that sacrifice is so I could use a hot swap, because apparently these people who make hot swap boards think that it would be crazy not to use a stepped caps lock. So anyway, enough about that. My final thought, I guess, is I don't want to get bored. There are sets that I see that I'm like, okay, sure, that looks similar to this, and I didn't want that, and I don't want, it's got to be. There are sets that I love, but there are a lot of sets that come that I'm just, there's a reason I'm not buying 19 sets every single. Well, one, I'm not rich. Two, there are sets that I just look at and I'm like, pass. Sorry. I get sent keycap sets every now and then, at least 2 or 3 a week. Someone come ask me, what do you think about this? It's green. I love green. I love camping. Green's my favorite color. What do you think about the set? It's green. And just meh. You could have done what. I see what you're doing, but you're not breaking the mold. So
yeah.
I say that with someone who has muted and 9s coming in minimal.
But I think it's one of those.
But it's just, I've got the sets that I have that are in the mold.
Yeah.
So I don't need. I want outside of the mold.
I think it's one of those things too, that those sets that are in the mold we also need. for
Yes,
people
absolutely.
who are at a different place than you are in your keyboard journey. And I think that's the big thing is take risks. If something is similar to yours, make your set unique. Figure out how to make it yours, so that way you have a way to combat people saying, "Well, this looks similar to this," and then you can say, "I know, but here's why it's different." Um, Other final thoughts. I love the fact that we're in a time where you can be super picky.
Yep.
I've had people get upset with me about the reason why I don't like the Xeno. And they're like, well, it's so nitpicky. And it's like, well, I'm spending $400 on a board. I'm going to
allowed
be
to be
super nitpicky. If I don't like the fact that the spacing of the F-row is what I don't like, then, and like, to me, it's justifiable not to purchase it.
Yep.
If personally, I don't think that your key set is the right shade of white for me, or the right shade of cream, and I don't want to buy it because of that, my opinion. People are going to have those opinions. As a designer, don't get upset by people having those opinions. It's nothing against you. They're not saying what you've designed is bad.
Yeah. I mean, Osiris here worked on a key set and he was showing it to us. And I was like, not for me. I mean, looks fine, but not for me. Shots fired. Mechs on deck is over, guys.
No, it's okay.
No, but
it's okay to be wrong.
It's preference. I know, exactly. It's preference, though. It's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah. And I will say, you broke the mold.
It is very different.
It's very different. I just don't like any of the colors, but you went off of a theme of something. It wasn't like, I'm picking these colors to put here and here and do this. You're like, I'm seeing something and I'm putting that on a key set. And I was like, well, I didn't really even like that. So I'm not going to like the other thing. So I just was noticing and I was looking at this list and it's the top 8. Camping didn't make it because camping had to go against Modern Dolch in like the second round.
It's weird to think that
Just
camping
saying.
was in that list. Like,
yeah,
just
that list is interesting because it's like sets that ran in 2017 but got released in 2018 and sets that ran in 2018 that didn't even get released yet. But
yeah.
of the top 8, I've owned 3 and sold 2 of them.
And one of them being number 1.
One of them being, I've owned number 1 and 2, number 1 of the 4 through 8s. And I've sold Olivia and Honeywell. Yeah. I would have loved, I have minimal close enough to monochrome, and I'm probably going to get Taro. But anyway, I think that wraps it up.
Mm-hmm.
So take risks because honestly, now's the freaking time. You're going to have to wait until April to get a keycap set in. But
I think we'll start seeing
risks.
I think we'll start seeing 2 sets per month from certain vendors.
Yeah.
2 and 3 sets. I think there's a lot of other cool stuff happening in the community with different sets.
We need more boards coming out.
Yeah. If you are a board designer,
get to work.
Step it up.
I'm going to sit here in my chair and stare at this monitor and type angry things in Discord and hurry up. No.
Coming from Chewy, who designed a board and then has not released it to the masses.
Nope.
But maybe one day.
Hey, maybe one day.
There's something to be said about making sure it's feasible before you open it up to everyone.
It's a cool looking board. So if I open it up to the masses, though, I'd probably have to change the plate because people want their non-split backspace. Hot takes. Also, if you're a keycap designer, Alt-GR can get out.
It's
the last thing I'll say.
It's used in other countries.
It's a stupid key, and it can get out. I don't care about Alt-GR. Right. Sorry. Anyway, quick shout out to our sponsors. Switchmod.net. That's switchmod.net/Mechs on deck. You can get 4% off your lube and spring needs. You can also check out GMK Sandstorm.
Yeah. It's a monochrome. Not
monochrome.
It is a mono colorway set.
Mono colorway set. It fits the mold.
It's
It's in the mold.
GMK Dust 2, as I like to call it. Speaking of sets that fit the mold,
Speaking of the poster child of fitting the
you
mold.
can get probably one of the most legendary GMK sets of the modern era and pre-modern era, probably. GMK 9009. You can go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com and get 9009 for $99.99 for a base kit. It's pretty cheap. You can also
Not
get
to be confused with GMK 9s, but
yeah.
9009.
You can also get desk mats. The desk mats look fantastic. They will also be running GMK Dracula next month, which is a cool set. Chewy loves it. I don't.
I do like Dracula. I'm more. I think they just announced that Terra's coming in November, and so now I'm just like,
Terra is in November?
Terra, November 1st.
Really? I thought it wasn't going to be until 2020. Okay.
No. So that one I actually did know about. All I was told was 2019 ... And I was like, oh crap. So, but our last sponsor reveal. Sorry. Zap Cables. You can go to Zap Cables, get yourself some of the best USB auxiliary, any cable that he has. I don't want to say any cable because I don't think he has every cable. But be on the lookout for some stuff like giveaways and stuff like that, because we frequently get to work with John over at Zap. If you want to make your own, we have a video about that. He's got the bumper coming out soon, so be sure to check that. And quick announcement, I will be streaming tonight. I'm building a board for someone on our Discord. It's gonna be a fun one, so check it out.
Yeah.
Osiris will probably be there in chat.
I will be there in chat, more than likely, unless I'm working or playing video games, but I'll be there.
Or doing anything else.
I'll be there. But no, check us out tonight on stream, or check us out tomorrow night on stream as well.
Big guy. Big interview.
Big interview, yes. So tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time, we are interviewing Voxkey, the designer of the Iron 165, which is a really cool 65% that Chewy hates.
I don't hate the board. I just hate the layout. I just hate everything about it.
And in terms of taking risks, Voxkey has taken a little bit of a risk with his design there and his choices for the SE options with using copper, which is not as popular to use as brass. So come check that out.
Does not fit the mold.
Does not fit the mold. We're going to be talking to him or her. I'm assuming it's a dude.
I think so, but 2019
could be. Yeah, 2019. I won't assume genders. We're going to be talking with them, and we're going to be talking about the Iron 165 and what's next and colors and the whole 9 yards, because it looks pretty sweet. So,
and then last but not least, we will both be in Austin this week at the Austin Keyboard Meetup. Come say hi, introduce yourself. Let us know if you like our content. Let us know if you hate your content. Come up and tell us you hate it. That's fine. But no, please come out. Let us know. Talk to us. We'd love to. I'll talk your freaking ear off. So check that out. And then next week, but yeah, and next week we have some cool stuff coming up in the next few weeks. We're kind of in the calm before the storm, right?
Yeah, we're like,
October's a busy month.
We're getting stuff in finally. It's been a while, but it's coming. I got to figure out what I'm gonna take to the meetup.
There you go.
I think
my camping TX60 and my Franken switch that I don't know what I'm going to call. I think I'm going to call the switches Zycos. I only call that to my and like Eric, but I'm not trying to make that a name like the Holy Panda. It's a Zelio Yak Holy Zelio Yak, so Zyko. I don't know. That's what I nicknamed. But anyway, but yeah, check us out in Austin. Stream tonight. Stream tomorrow night.
Yeah. Like the video if you liked it. If you didn't, then cool. Have a good time. We'll see you later.
Buy a Switch test.
I know.